Welcome back to Cinematic Music Production Tips. Today I want to talk about how I use Fabfilter Pro MB in upward and downward expansion configurations. To illustrate my points, I'll give a couple of examples of how you could use this in a mix. I'll look at shaping strings and mixing busy percussion, but the same principles can be applied to any musical content. You can think of expansion as the opposite of compression. Typically, compression takes the loudest parts of the signal and turns them down, thereby reducing the dynamic range. Expansion increases the dynamic range instead. Downward expansion reduces the level of the quietest parts of the signal, while upward expansion increases the level of the loudest parts of the signal. Let's look at a couple of scenarios where an increased dynamic range is a useful thing to have. Here are a few bars of spiccato strings. I will open Fabfilter Pro MB, add a single band across the entire frequency spectrum, and change it to expansion mode. I will leave the default range value of -6 dB and adjust the threshold until it catches only the louder notes played by the cello section. This is downward expansion. Everything that is quieter is turned down even further. The change in sound is quite dramatic. There is a lot less reverb and room ambience, and the strings sound snappier and drier. This can be a useful tool for mixing and can help create some space. Here is a quick comparison with the plug-in bypassed every second bar. If you reduce the attack time, you can make the expansion more sudden, making the strings sound even shorter and drier. Next, I'm going to adjust the range parameter and change it to a positive value of +6 dB. Now we have upward expansion. We're still expanding the signal, but the loudest parts get turned up, while the quieter parts stay the same. Here is a quick comparison with bypassed signal. This kind of approach is useful if you want to add a bit of dynamic shape and motion to your phrase by emphasizing the accents. Let's switch to a different example now. Here are a couple of tracks of heavy percussion. The low end is quite congested, but using downward expansion I can clear it up a bit by making the low end of these drums decay faster. I want to focus on just the lower frequencies, and to do that I will first make the band narrower. Next I will adjust the threshold and set the range to -10 dB. I will leave the attack time at around 10% for a fast attack, cutting a lot of the ringing of the drums and leaving just the impact of the transient. The result is a much punchier sound, but again, because we're reducing the quieter sounds, there is also less reverb. Let's try some upward expansion on these drums too. I'll change the range to +6 dB, adjust the threshold, and also set a look ahead to make sure that all of the transients are snappy and in focus. This is a nice way to add some impact to your percussion. In summary, expansion can be used as a problem solver, for example to reduce reverb that is too washy or to create more space in a mix. But expansion can also be a creative tool and add dynamics and motion to your music. That's all for this time. Thanks for watching.